About your hometown and surrounding area. Tiger Talk is brought to you by... And Tiger Talk brought to you by Strain Beans Coffee House on Lower Main in Princeton, Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Katie's Delicious Homemade Goodness, and Perry's Floors and More. All right, we are live on Tiger Talk at 6 minutes. I said 8 minutes. 6 minutes past our 8 o'clock. I've been wanting to transpose everything this morning, Brother Harrell. We have the pleasure of welcoming into the WPKY studios Brother Harrell Riley of HR Ministries. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Glad to be here. Thank you for giving us the liberty to be on. And as I was sharing before we came on, one of our greatest assets for ministry, I believe, is communication. Of course, first of all, with the gospel, but keeping everybody informed of what's going on so people can be involved. And truth is a blessing. What people perceive to be the truth is not always true, so we want to be sure everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's what it's all about. And you have lots of wonderful things going on in your ministry, in your work, and everywhere. So let's get to it and tell the folks, give us an update on what's going on downtown and then what's you got going throughout about.
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to come be live today and share with folks is there's much concern, and if you drive down Main Street, you'll notice that there's some barricades out in front of the building, a set of scaffolding up. Just so folks know, there's been probably between 2,500 and 3,000 man-hours been done, and to be honest, we were hoping to be up at the first of last week. That's not going to happen, and we in one sense, we are surprised at the situation we're in, but we also know that through investigating when we bought the building, we were going to have to do some work. It was just not planned at this time. So what's happened from the wise counsel we got, if we had not had the winter that we've had with the moisture and the freeze-thaw, we wouldn't be working on it right now. But for the safety of everybody in town, for the integrity of the building, which for your all's knowledge is structurally sound. There's not a problem there, but we don't want people getting hurt. But there was a piece of the facade that came out, began to investigate that, and for the sake of the community, we want to be sure we get that in order for several reasons. Of course, we're not the only building in town who had problems during this winter wonderland that we've had. So, again, I want people to understand that we're not surprised, meaning when we purchased the building, we had several people crawl all over it, and we knew that there were some things that need to be done. Now, in moving and getting prepared for that, our goal has been and still is through the operation of the funding there to work on the building, make it better, and then move our regular offices upstairs. So to be honest with you, we're about 95% finished downstairs, ready for Joseph Storage Bin to be moved, and racks are up. We were donated some racks by Walmart, donated some other things and materials, and again, close to 3,000 volunteer hours in there scrubbing, working, and doing. If you translate that to funds, we probably have put, $25,000 worth of work in there that nobody had to pay for. Plus, if you look at that, probably more like 100,000 if we contracted things out and did that. So we're in a position now where we're going to have to work on the technical people being there. We do have some folks out of Paducah and other places that are giving us some suggestions, quotes, and our board will meet and we'll come up with a plan. So for those downtown that's worried about downtown, we are not just twiddling our thumbs. It's moving quickly, but when I say that, my suspect is we're 4 to 6 weeks out of even moving in, plus whatever happens with this situation. It's out of our control at the moment.
As I was going to ask you about the timeline on the facade work. I know, I've seen out there looking at it, and I saw some pictures, and I mean, you can't do anything about when, Mother Nature gets involved and moisture gets in there,
Sure.
It freezes and expands, and it contracts, and then next thing you know, you've got pieces falling. Of course, those, again, it's structurally sound, but
Yes.
there are aspects of those older buildings that are just, weather's going to take its toll on.
Yeah, and without getting into detail, we have had several folks who deal with that portion of the world, some contractors and engineers and everybody they're happy that the building's in good shape. We just have to do some stuff, and because of the way that the building looks, because we're in downtown, because of several things, there's some circumstances there that we're going to have to work through and try to figure out what's the best case scenario. And as you know, when we deal with things, including buying the building, it's not like we're a corporate business. We have to rely on volunteers. We have to rely on financial giving, and we have to rely on, above all, the Lord to take care of the issue. And we got an issue, so we're first and foremost praying. Then we're asking people to get involved, and we're hoping that people will see the need in it and probably give to it. But beyond that, that's the only answers I got for you. So we've already got several teams that are volunteering to come this summer, not just for that, but other things are happening. And just so people know, we're being contacted by the Department of Corrections again about reentry, and there's some good things happening. And I won't go into detail unless we have more of an approval. And I believe that what goes on down there can be an impact and encouragement to the community. So you pray for that, and we, I think, have been very successful down there. We've got, again, 29 facilities. Things are happening. We want to put a program in place down there called Moving Forward. And so as we do that, I kind of want folks to know, because I think they scratch their head about Joseph Storage Bin. Here's what I'd like for you to know, those of you that are out there. We are still in operation, right, first and foremost. And people ask, where do we take our donations? The other building is up and running. We will let people know when we make that transition and what to do with that. So we still desperately need your donations, and we still desperately need people to come and shop. And for some, we call it the great swap out. We've got some folks that I think it's mainly a part of their therapy. They enjoy shopping and stuff, so they come and buy, and when they come and buy, they drop off. And so I don't think you can get a better green cycle than that.
There you go.
So there's some things happening there. But as I say that, I want you to know that we've got some procedures in place, and sometimes people get frustrated, Ty, with why don't you help everybody? Well, first of all, we can't, and second of all, we have, through the ministry, always presented ourselves in a fashion that we don't want to draw trouble to Princeton. We don't want to accentuate or help encourage people to be lazy or to feed off of programming. So we've got some procedures in place down there. If you want to know about that, come down and see us. But there's an application form, there's a telephone
certain
call,
way things are done,
interview. Then we help decide what's the best case scenario for us helping, and we're grateful for the police and sheriff's department as they deal with certain things. And just give you an idea, last year, this is a bare minimum. I'm just giving you some roundabout figures. Just the ministry side of the building down there, we spent $2,500 on motels last year. Now, that's not including the discount we get for doing that. That does not include churches or people that partner with us that maybe either the budget's short or we're trying to get them connected to a pastor or something. We call on them and somebody else takes care of motels. So that's probably more like $5,000. Gas and electric, again, partnerships with churches. Sometimes we only give a portion of it. Other churches are able to help them. Well over $1,500 just on electric last year for people here in the community. Plus, there's some other things that come out of our other budget on the HR side that connect to all that. And so for people wondering, we spent almost $1,000 on bus tickets last year. And let me give you an idea about that. Those of you who are listening, our jailer and our police station, as well as Lyon County's jailer and Trigg County, have to deal with certain things. And there are some people that have been in trouble, and we sometimes have to get them a motel. The hands of the court system sometimes are tired, or police or whatever. There's only certain things they can do. So we partner with them. We had a call yesterday. A gentleman needed to get back to Orlando, Florida. So those are the kinds of things that are being helped. And you say, why do you do that? Well, again, in the budget of what's going on, sometimes we don't even count the fact that we feed guys, or we potentially take them to River City Mission or somewhere else that's not in the check marks of what we write checks on.
Right.
So there's a lot more going on there. We also, those folks that are helping down there, just give you an idea, some of the people that volunteer, and I believe this is going to escalate because of some of the things that are being talked about in Kentucky with Medicaid, Medicare, and requirements to do things. KTAP is a program that folks get paid. Well, on one side of that, here's what we're looking at. They're not unemployed. They've got money to pay their own bills, and they volunteer down there. And you can bare minimum look at that at $25 hours a week, and probably it's more than this. But if you just rank it on $725, $750 for
a pay scale,
yeah. It's more than that. But they're paying taxes on it. They're doing, and they move from that to another job. So there's a whole lot going on down there. So it's vitally important that people understand and hear me say, your donations of clothing and other stuff, when it gets sold for 50 cents a dollar, is going back to a much broader picture than a thrift store sitting on the corner, and I don't know that people catch that sometimes.
Right.
And it also gives folks to learn how to fish rather than us just give fish out, and that's important.
Yeah, and I do want to stress to everybody, too, that Joseph's Storage Bin is operating in the same spot.
Same spot, same place. We'll be until we have liberty to announce we're moving the building.
Exactly.
And those kind of things.
So continue to shop, drop off your donations and all that. Can't stress that enough.
No.
Because you need that to continue.
And we really feel like, just so folks know, that has slowed down a little bit because of confusion, anticipation. We projecting some things, can't get it done, and so we want to kind of help people understand that. Now, one of the other things that happens with us down there, maybe some of you all don't know, but we've had the opportunity in the last year to get placements for jobs for about 6 different people. So what happens in that is we have a project plan down there that moves them through a process of accountability, and when that happens, then we can give them a work record, job background, so that they can go get a job, which in turn helps. Now, we're grateful again, like I said, for the police and the jail, and we're working on a process right now to have a meeting with all them to clarify, because at the end of the day, it kind of concerns us that there's opportunity for people just to unfortunately wander around. So if they've been arrested out on the interstate and don't have people here in town, it's not like they have someplace to go sometimes. So just keep that in mind, and be aware that the police station, the jailers, and the Sheriff's Department don't let that just fall, but they are limited in what they do. So we partner with them to try to help that. So we ought to be grateful that they pay attention to those kind of things, and it's not just dropping people on the front porch. So
right.
Now, the other leg of that, and I'll help folks with this today, and just help people be mindful, is there's other funds that come out of that. Just about all of it, 90% of it goes to the community itself through those actions, and then the other portion of it that adds up to that 90% is many people don't understand, and some announcements and other things will be coming. But when we had Soul Quest, money goes out there because that's a community-driven program. SummerSlam, which is coming up, is a part of that, and with the inflatables and advertisement and other things happen, that money comes out of there, so it doesn't come out of regular budget money from the ministry itself. We've had the liberty to send some kids to camp. We've had liberty down there to sponsor some pastors going to retreats. We've had liberty to help with some tournament travel and housing of kids that couldn't do that otherwise. Shoes for athletes. Those kind of things are what you're supporting by coming to Joseph's Storage Bin and being a part of what's going on in the community. So
it drives a lot of things.
It drives a lot of things. Tori will be hollering here before long. He's already begun, just so folks know, to toil on July. Our tentative date's the 28th. And
of Soul Quest.
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam. Yeah, I got that in my head. It is SummerSlam now.
we have actually, for those of you that are listening, we have actually had some emails from afar and maybe even closer than we want them, of people who have said they'd like to volunteer for SummerSlam or for Soul Quest, like it's coming again this summer. No, it'll be about 7 more years before another one happens, and it won't be right here in Princeton. So it's kind of funny to think about that people get their head wrapped around that in that fashion. And
is your SummerSlam location going to be out at the SoulQuest site, or are we going to have it back in town? Do we know yet?
Well, there's a gap there, and we have not talked to the Board of Education yet, so we cannot give a clear announcement. I don't think there'll be a problem, but our hope is that we can come back to town where we belong and do what we do. There are some pastors discussing another revival setting, a tent revival setting again like we did last year.
Right.
So we'll be making more announcements about that in the future. Here in a little while, we'll be recording our Sunday morning program. What that's about, and one of the things that can happen down through Joseph Storage Bin is particular projects. And Brother Mark Vaughn will be here. So tune in Sunday morning at 9 o'clock to hear what's going on. But there's a Bible project. They're wanting to gather 40,000 Bibles for Africa, and we want to share why that's happening and what the needs are and why and how you can be a part of that by dropping off down at the Joseph Storage Bin and participating in that. So
wow.
we've got several activities going on, several things that can be done. So we ask that people pray for us and keep that in mind. Again, when you drive by, just pray for the building that we can get it up and running, and be mindful that, as I said, if we were a corporation or if we were, a business, it's not an insurance problem. It's not a situation where, you have capital funds set aside for certain things. It's a faith-based operation, so to get that done, we're going to have to rely on the Lord, work with people, and pray that the Lord would make provision financially for those things to happen. So we're working on it.
Very, very good information. Tell me, let's talk a little bit more about this. Is it actually like a Bible drop?
It will be
kind of a preview. People can take their Bibles and drop them, and then
extra. And then what will happen with that? And he'll give more information on that on Sunday. But there's a program in Illinois that takes care of that, and we will be boxing them up, getting them prepared, and then Cedar Bluff and Brother Mark, who are challenged to do that, are going to take care of that, as well as I believe receiving funds to purchase new Bibles in the same token. So
okay.
My understanding of that whole process that we'll be going over here in a little while is that we're going to put a box down there, a receptacle for that, and at the same time, if you want to help with that, you can contact Brother Mark to do that. Now, 40,000 sounds like a whole lot, but I was just speculating at my own house because I have several that I study out of. There's some that I'm probably not going to give away, but
you got one that's taped up over here.
Taped up, baby. It's not
been worked through.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But there, I think that we have a great privilege here in America and in our country to have them so accessible to us.
Some places don't.
You can go to Dollar Store and Walmart and buy one right now if you want it. You can holler over through the county, and I promise you the Gideons will bring you one if you really want one right now. But there are areas and places where they're not accessible, and we out of our bounty should be willing to give in that. So keep that in mind. And what's sad is we come this morning, there's been several deaths in our community. I mean, the obituary was full yesterday. I had the unfortunate privilege of going to a funeral of a 15-year-old Amish girl yesterday, as well as some prominent folks here in our community that passed away yesterday. I think we need to be mindful when we see tragedies in Florida, 17 people gunned down. The first action and reaction is to get political. The first action and reaction is to give our opinions about how to fix it. The truth of the matter, everybody that's listening to us this morning, one way or the other is going to die, whether it's by a gunshot, whether it's by tragedy, whether it's by health. Nobody's escaping this world without the heart stopping. And so when the heart stops, the reality is life's in the blood. What I mean by that is if we don't share with people about Jesus Christ, if we don't give them the word, if we don't encourage them in their circumstances, Joseph Storage being the whole goal for it. And one of the I didn't necessarily, since it's secular radio, want to seem like I'm preaching, but in the new building before we've ever opened as a store, there have been 6 people giving their heart and life to Jesus Christ. The end goal is not clothes. The end goal is not money. The end goal is not a building downtown on Main Street. The end goal is not volunteerism. The end goal is life and the liberty to live it. So those of you who are listening may not even like what I said, and I may get you in trouble, but all the political yah-yah over 17 people getting saved, get over that and remember those are living beings that were in a school Florida, Marshall County, those were living beings, folks that had a soul that escaped this world, and we don't even consider where they went. We consider what happened and how it upsets us or frustrates us, or how it inconveniences us to actually listen to all that. Sometimes is the expressions that you get on Facebook and other stuff. What we ought to be worried about is whether or not people are saved or lost, whether they're in good order with the Lord or not, period. And I know for some of you listening, that's probably an offense. If and it is, you just pray for me and you pray about your offense, because it's probably a blessing to hear it. And so we need to pray for one another, pray for our teachers, pray for our administration, pray for the police that are out there that are watching folks. And here's another thing, Ty, since I've already ran this gamut. Humanity can't stop evil. That's a force that is beyond our abilities to legislate or even come up with a plan for. What you have to do is understand that evil is overcome by good through the Lord to begin with. And when people are right with the Lord, it doesn't matter what the evil is. And so when you get those things out of order, everybody gets all askant, and we try to come up with...
Gets chaotic, doesn't it?
Chaotic, and we try to come up with crazy plans. Those plans will not work. Let me just help folks. The plan is salvation through faith in Jesus Christ, end of story. And if you don't know him, all the evil in the world is already on you. So our goal in Joseph's Store has been, our goal with the ministry, our goal for being on the radio on Sunday morning here and over at Katie's and all that goes on is to help people with that. Because just to be honest with you, it's pretty simple. I get excited about life because even though 17 people were tragically lost yesterday, folks need to know there's still hope. We live in a country with millions of people, and that's just a highlight for the day. How many other people are going through tragedy that never gets an announcement or a newscast or a Facebook post or an opinions that run by through people who don't even know what they're talking about, that need people to encourage them? And there are folks all around our community. There are people living in storage units. There are folks that are living in places with no food. There are folks that have children that are being abused. And we get all worked up about whether or not it's what we like. We need to get busy and share with people the gospel and help folks in that fashion. And
there you go. You just dropped the mic. Boop. There you
and
go.
I'll say to you, not very many people. There's a lot of folks that had already turned the radio plug off over and went to commercial. But I think we need to know that there are avenues and there are means. We call it secular. We call it religious. I think everybody has a placement in the kingdom, and I'm grateful that you're here at this radio station. Our community still has opportunities to pray at the school and do things that we do. And nobody's forced you to let me talk today, nor is there anybody forced to listen. So you can always
click,
turn it off. But I think
hope you're keeping it turned on.
Huh?
We hope you're keeping it
yes,
turned
sir.
on.
But I would say to anybody that's listening, it's a joint venture with the community to help and serve people, and that's the reason we bought the building. As we came in to share about this today, that's the reason that we spend the energy, and volunteers from all over the country have come in and spent 3,000 hours.
It's been an impressive...
Doing crazy.
It's been an impressive bunch of folks up there volunteering their time and doing that. I know we've seen it from the beginning, and you have not been without tragedy there.
No.
And trying to get this done. You've had...
Yeah, September we had a gentleman actually working down there who was being served through Joseph's Storage Bin in our program with reentry and those kind of things, and unfortunately had a heart attack and passed away.
Yeah.
Again, it you can't get away from that, so you have to deal with it in reality. And what is your answer? But, going back to that and timing and all the rest of it, we can't do it without people and volunteering. If you're out there listening,
that's where I was going. Just
if you out there and listening can help, come on. We've got jails and prisons that need help. We got Joseph Storage Bin that needs volunteers. We've got work out at the office that needs help. We've got, and the end goal and the end result of that is there's been almost 200 saved in this calendar year, 2,000 last year, and 800 graduated from our classes that we have for discipleship, and we got people asking us to get in class now. So all those resources, all that stuff, it may sound crazy, but it all goes back to um, those people who are in need. I just saw Carl Fowler and some other folks that got on there, and going back to the building down there, if you get a chance once we get it open, come and look, because we've not tried to modernize too much. We've tried to be sure that the building has some mystique about it because of its age and
historical
some other stuff.
significance.
And some unique things that have been put in by the personalities that have been there. There's some painting been done on the walls. There's some handcraftedness that's been put in with some woodwork. There's some folks that have put the energy. As I'm speaking, there goes a van load of folks to Job Corps in Greenville out the window there. But in doing that, reason I mentioned Carl, we've tried to put the plaster back the way it is and not do new and weird stuff. We tried to make it something that people will want to come see, even if they don't want to come shop. We want visitors from all over the country when they come to go, hey, you need to go down there and see that building. Check out what they're doing with Ministries.
And at some point, you're going to have from the at least earlier discussions that we've had, a meeting room or some sort of community type room. At some point, it might not happen right away, but folks can gather and have meetings and that kind of thing.
Hopefully, a prayer center similar to the one that was in Princeton before, where people can focus on that meeting area, place for training that we need for our ministry offices for us, and equipping people to deal with finances, people to be equipped to deal with personal needs as they might come out of the facilities, or even folks that are sitting around here in the community, and going back to what I said earlier, helping them move forward. There's a lot of folks, I believe, they come to the edge of the crossroad here that we're looking at, or a sidewalk, and traffic just seems a little bit crazy. Well, they need help moving forward to get where they need to go, but they get stumped. So through finances, through training, through equipping, through people being with them, that's kind of what's going on down there. So I guess what I would say to everybody is thank you for giving down there. Thank you for shopping down there, and thank you for your support in what we do, because without that, some of the things we've just mentioned,
a lot of the programs and a lot of the outreach that you have isn't going to work. Tell the folks again, you said it was all about communication when you started. Let's tell folks how they can communicate with HR Ministries, get involved, get information.
Sure.
Give them the ways to reach out to you all.
If you want to volunteer, the quickest way to do it is call the office at 270-365-6044 and just tell them. They'll get you connected with the applications and other things. The other is the website is hellisreal.org, which will connect you back over to hrministries.net. Either one of those will get you directly connected. We do have a HR Ministries Facebook page. It's the one with the blue swoop cross that you need to connect to. It won't be hard to see because there's pictures and other stuff that you can glance at that tells you what's going on. There's information on there constantly, and because of that, we put our newsletter on there each week. Because of that, we do a Facebook Live at least once a week, about a couple of minutes, just let people know what the needs are and those kind of things. Hopefully coming up in the next part of the first week, we'll have an actual video, an aerial video, and some other stuff of the building explaining what we're doing, and some information from those that are actually have the knowledge to tell you what's going on.
Right.
All I know is a brick fell out and we got to fix it, okay? But there are people who have better understanding, better information, so people can be informed. The other is we mentioned on 9 o'clock Sunday mornings here on WPKY, which we're grateful for. The first part of that in the intro, we always get an update of what happened last week and what we need to pray for the week. So there's several means and ways to communicate with us. And I will say this, as Ty probably knows, after a good long season of knowing one another for about almost 30 years now,
yes,
which is, by the way, absolutely crazy to think that we've known each other 30 years.
That's about right.
If you want to know something from me or HR Ministries, I've never been one not to be able to express myself. Now, you may not like what I tell you, but I'll be honest with you. Anybody that's got a question, a concern, don't ask other people. Don't consider it from other sources.
Right to the source.
Just come to us. I promise you. You can go out there at the office and somebody will walk you through the financial books if you're just that concerned. But here's one of the things that doesn't need to happen in our community. People sometimes make up their own truth about what's happening. Well, the wall fell down; they're going to have to close the building. It's done. Nothing's going to happen. Those kind of things. That's one reason we've come on radio this morning, let you know what's going on. Speculation. This building's like the one that was down on the other corner, and it's just going to sit there for a while and fall down. We want people to know the truth, and if you got any questions, holler at us, and we'll be happy to share with you those truths in that process. So be praying for us. We're praying for you all, and as I close out, as I mentioned in the middle of this, unprompted and unregulated, let's be sure that we pray for folks in Florida. And there's kids in our community right now that's unsettled. You had Marshall County and other things. Watch for people. Watch their countenance. Watch their attitudes. There are things happening in other people's lives we don't know about that cause people to act out, whether that's dumb, evil, maliciously, whatever it may be. You might be the one to encounter somebody and encourage them. And here's what I know about that. If you'll share with them the truth of who Jesus is, he can change everything. The problem is we're not sharing, and therefore there is evil. So get involved. My last statement would be pray and get involved.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. And again, reach out to Brother Harrell Riley, HR Ministries, hellisreal.org, and that'll get you to their website. If you have any questions, again, go right to the source.
God, we appreciate the opportunity to be on here today, and thankful for the community's radio station and your ministry, in a sense, to everybody else by doing it.
Well, sure. And we are all in this together, and thank you for the work you do, not only here locally, but all over. It touches lots of lives, and it's I know it's quite an endeavor, but you couldn't do it without some wonderful support at home. And
amen. Happy Valentine's Day again.
Yeah, there you go. And we appreciate you. Thank you for being here today.
Yes, sir.
And Godspeed to you and your organization and the building down there. And we certainly appreciate that, and we'll look forward to shopping down there, and continue on at Joseph's Storage Bin with your donations at their present location, and just keep on doing it. So that's going to wrap up this edition of Tiger Talk. It's 8:38 here on your hometown radio station, 103.3 FM, 1580 AM, WPKY, The Tiger. Our thanks to Brother Harrell Riley, HR Ministries today, and be sure you stick around. Todd Griffin in with the Times Leader. It's the Sideline Report that's coming up at 9:03. For Brother Harrell Riley, Ty Engelbride, bidding you adieu today on Tiger Talk at 8:38. Downtown Princeton specializes in made-to-order